You're a failure. Let me rephrase that. We're all failures. Failing in business is not a possibility, it's a certainty. But how you handle failure is what defines your success. This week, we're talking about the main reason why businesses fail, and I'll be honest with you, it very well could be you that are failing. You're smart, you're motivated, you want to do something big. You're on the verge of being a young boss, and we're going to help you get there. I'm your host, Isabelle Guarino, and welcome to the Young Boss Podcast, where youth is your power. Yep, entrepreneurship sucks because it's all on you. You might be struggling to hire and train and retain the right people, and I have a solution for you. There are critical steps of business creation that you cannot afford to skip, no matter how mundane they may be. But let's step in front of the mirror for a moment. Let's be honest with ourselves. Am I the problem? Are you the problem? We're going to help you figure out failure. Let's dive in. As we've discussed on the show before, hiring, training, and retaining is one of the most important elements of your business. Without good people, you could never have a good business. It's as simple as that. But like all things worth having, it doesn't come easy, and a lot of entrepreneurs fail right here. They fail at onboarding their team properly. They fail at establishing expectations of roles through standard operating procedures. And that's likely because they failed to create those solid SOPs. One thing leads to another, and you're stuck on the hamster wheel of trying to find and retain employees that you can trust. And listen, this might be hard for y'all to hear, but when your team fails, it's your fault. Who else's fault would it be? Everything starts and ends with you. Before you go to hire people for your team, you need to answer these questions. How long does it take to get them in the swing of things? What is your metric for this? How long do you want it to take? And how long does it need to take? And also, if your new hire can't fully integrate within 10 days, is that a failure to you, or is that okay? At what point in this process are you wasting time, energy, and money? These answers are going to vary for everybody. If you are bringing someone into a McDonald's, that's very different than teaching someone to be a lash artist. All of these have different processes, different timelines. But again, it's all up to you and the work that you've put in up front. Because if you haven't put in the work up front and you're just expecting, oh, come sit next to me and just learn what I do as I'm doing it, that's not going to work. They need something to fall back on when you're not there. They need to have those questions answered up front. So when they are doing some form of hands-on training, they're asking educated questions, not questions that really they should have known before you even sat down into this training process. You'll need to dive into this process to ensure that you're dialed and aligned on every aspect so that you don't end up disappointed because your new hire is going to struggle to integrate. Remember, it's all going to come back to you. If you haven't put in the work, I wouldn't expect it to work. And speaking of the work, you need to take SOPs seriously. They are the backbone of your business, the structures and systems that create consistency and standards across everything that you do. From cold calling prospects to facilitating email marketing campaigns to even crisis communication, SOPs outline in detail how you do what you do. They are step by step, straight to the point, no bullshit, clear and concise, and easily understandable and actionable by all of your employees. This not only sets standards in the workplace, but it saves everybody time from answering questions that were not and should have been answered in the SOPs. I like to call SOPs the "what do you need if I died tomorrow" documents. I know, a little morbid, but that's how I think. If so-and-so got hit by a bus, what do I need from them? They need to include passwords, websites, systems, step-by-step instructions on how to use every system and program that this person touches. Also, why things are done this way. If it's all communicated very clearly and updated often, then that's exactly what we're looking for. When it comes to how often, you probably should be updating them anytime that there's a major change. So if the password changes or the processes change, then the SOP needs to be changed. Some business coaches we've worked with, they said you should have a foundational Friday or a meeting every Friday where you're literally picking a process and going through it to make sure that it is still accurate, that nothing is being stopgapped, that there's no leak in the system. And if there is, then we need to fix it. So if your company is large enough to have hundreds of SOPs, maybe you implement a foundational Friday, or you keep each person in charge of any current updates that they need to do, always being updated in their SOPs. Your SOPs are critical to efficiently onboarding new hires and ensuring that what they're being taught is already learned by your current team. It's allowing them to seamlessly integrate into the already established systems of your business with very little to no questions left unanswered. Remember what I said earlier? If you haven't put in the work, don't expect it to work. Yeah, this is where the work comes in. Someone has to create these SOPs. Am I right? They're going to take time, and they should, because these are critical to the success of your business. But thankfully, there are plenty of online tools that you can use to aid you in the process. These programs and tools won't be able to read your mind or know your business, but some tools that I love to use if you want to manually explain every step: Trainual and Loom. Two tools that I love to use if you are a non-explainer and you just want it to translate how you're doing the process: Tango and Scribe How. All four of these are amazing when it comes to creating SOPs, depending on how involved you want to be or not. And listen, I know this process sounds cumbersome, but you will fail in business as you scale if you haven't created those SOPs. There's literally no excuse for you not to do this. You're an entrepreneur and your dreams and goals are reliant on the success of your business. And the success of your business is reliant on SOPs. Therefore, your dreams and goals actually rely on your SOPs. So I don't care how much you don't want to do it, you have to. Hiring, training, and retaining is one of the most costly aspects of any business, both financially and with all of the time that you're going to spend on it. Don't take shortcuts. They're always going to take longer. Your SOPs assign and prescribe accountability and responsibility so long as they're accurate. Now, your team members' responsibilities are clearly laid out for them as well when you do this. So everybody's aligned on who is responsible for what and how things need to be done. And if something isn't done correctly, you can now refer to the SOP. And if something isn't done correctly, you can now refer to that SOP when it's accountability time. SOPs help you avoid failure, avoid employee failure, task failure, and communication failure. When you set goals and don't reach them because they're not clearly laid out, that's on you. And that's exactly why SOPs are critical to the success of your team members. The success of your team members is critical to the success of your business. You see, all these things are hand in hand. If something's not happening when and how you need it to be happening, there's always someone accountable when everything is accounted for. But if nothing has an assignment, a deadline, an SOP, then it's your fault for not preparing them enough. SOPs feed directly into goals, feed directly into the success of your business. And if you aren't setting your team up for success with the processes and systems that will get them where you need to be, you're failing as a business owner and as a young boss. Geez, I'm telling you, you're failing a lot, I know, but remember, everything comes back to you. That's what you signed up for. Have you heard of the trickle-down effect? You know, when people at the top start to fail or crumble, everything beneath them starts to follow? Yeah, you aren't immune to that. None of us are. We as young bosses, as business owners, are the cornerstone of the business. Our ducks need to be in a row, our I's dotted and our T's crossed. You can't expect excellence from your team if you're not the epitome of excellence or success within your business. Personally, you'll likely fail at some point, probably multiple points in your business journey. But if it's happening often, like too often, you're going to need to look into the mirror. And to put it bluntly, you might not be cut out for it, or your business might not have the legs required to make it in the marketplace. If you're experiencing repeated failure, you may start to ask yourself, when do I give up? How many times can I fail before I give up on this idea? Notable business icons like Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, and Alex Hormozi were removed from positions in the red for almost a decade and failed 9 businesses back to back to back, respectively. They all say the same thing. You're probably never going to feel what you think you will. There's not really a moment of, holy shit, I've made it. If you're a true entrepreneur, you're going to get to where you thought you wanted to be, look around, and start seeking more. Start asking, what's next? What's next? It's never going to feel that mountaintop moment. You're never really settled. You always want more and you want to prove that you can do more, accomplish more. Listen, you're hungry. You're never satiated. That's a blessing and a curse. When I think back to my own father, he failed in business his entire life. He had way more failures than wins. Luckily, I was a witness to this growing up, so I knew that if you are going to be an entrepreneur, you are going to have more at-bats than you are home runs. That's just how it goes. The sooner that you learn that, the more resilient that you'll be. But if you've never seen this in action, it is gut-wrenchingly stressful. You might have a spouse or kids who depend on you, a mortgage, car loans, business loans, heaps of insurance policies, personal loans, credit card debts, what seems like an insurmountable pile of responsibilities and liabilities. Hey everyone, I want to share something that has truly changed my charging game. It's the 360 electrical. When I got this cord, oh my goodness, you guys, I'm always in need of a quick charge, whether I'm on the go in the car or at the airport. I want to be able to plug it in and 15 minutes later be on full battery, and that's exactly what this has done for me. It delivers 240 watts of ultra fast charging, so you're back to full battery in no time. It is perfect for those last-minute travel emergencies. It's got a super long cord and it doesn't fray. It keeps everything nice and tidy, super easy to travel with, take with you on the road. So if you want to grab yours today, head to 360electrical.com and use promo code YoungBoss for 20% off your order. Now, back to the show. It's a lot for regular economy workers, but entrepreneurship is completely different. And that's probably why entrepreneurs are reported to be twice as likely as others to have suicidal thoughts. When failures pile up, when that mountain becomes increasingly insurmountable, you're going to need to know when you wave the white flag on your business and move on. Ultimately, it's going to be up to you to make that decision, keep pressing, or determine at what point you're going to move on. But you have to ask, what's your metric? What's your barometer? You know, I would decide what's the biggest stressor for you. Maybe it's money or time, or maybe it's the increase in deterioration amongst your relationships. That's the breaking point. You know, there's going to be something that will break the camel's back. And it's better for you to know what that is and have that boundary before you get into business than when you're metaphorically staring down the barrel of a loaded gun. All that to say, failure is integral to success. It's hard to succeed if you haven't failed, and success is a lot sweeter if you have failed. The silver spoon is hell of a lot sweeter when you've stumbled and you've taken one step forward to fall 3 back. Failing is a method of research and learning. How will you know what direction to move towards if you've never failed, if an idea hasn't flopped? It's all information, which will not only dictate your innovation and direction, but whether or not you need to move on from the business altogether. And honestly, you could be failing because you're not doing the right things. You're not taking time to grow, to network, to learn. It's not always the market. And the market's easy to blame, but at the end of the day, there are people who succeed in every market, hence why the market exists. Sometimes the business just isn't for you, but that's okay because there are plenty of markets and businesses you can engage in. And if you're determined to be a successful entrepreneur, I know you will. We've failed in our business plenty of times, whether it be failed products, failed, events where, I go fly out somewhere, speak to all these people and we get a whopping 0 sales, or it could be failed marketing efforts, literally failed entire businesses or programs that we created that just didn't take off in the way that we did. It is okay. Every single failure has let me learn a major lesson on what direction we want to go, what mistakes we made along the way, and why I will or not do that again. Each one gets you further along, but without those, it doesn't give me actual feedback or information as much on the things that are working. So for you, what's actually wrong with your business? As we've talked about it, it could be your processes or lack thereof. You're not clear and efficient at communicating about your business. You're not good at training and retaining people. You've had a hard time establishing repeatable actions and processes that are critical to your business. It could also be the people, which falls back on you. You've simply made bad hires. You're having a hard time identifying talent. Are you somebody who always picks the wrong partner? That lack of people skills and judgment might be bleeding into your business and causing your business to bleed. Think about a car. When you start to hear your brakes or the engine sound different when you start the car, it's time to take it in. It's time to fix it. It's the same thing with your business. If sales are failing or your team's engagement is down, that likely means it's time for you to grow, to change the oil, to update some parts and pieces, and to make the car or the business more efficient and reliable. The parts are the people. The vehicle as a whole is your business. What's shiny and pretty on the outside might not be so good once you lift under the hood. Does your business have beauty and brains? I know one time in our business, we had to reevaluate an entire department. It was our phone sales department, and they take a lot of their calls on the phone. Well, I went to a mastermind and our numbers were down. And when I'm asking my other friends who are in similar industries, my numbers were just not matching up what they should have been. And the suggestion that they gave to me was try Zoom. When I went back to my team and we implemented this new thing, it significantly increased our sales. Many times you're headed in a direction because you're doing things the way that they've always been done. And you have to just try one simple, silly thing. Did I really need to go to a mastermind to decide that Zoom was the way to go and hear it from somebody else? Maybe not. Maybe I would have thought of it on my own. But here's the thing. Sometime when your head is down and you're in the business every day, you're in those weeds, it's hard for you to look up and see what's going on. And somebody else comes along and shares the simplest tip, and all of a sudden you're like, boom, and then it changes everything. Remember, it all comes back to you. People work for people, not businesses or companies. I know that sounds funny, but you have to ask, is your business full of have to employees, people who have to show up to work just to get paid? Or is your business full of people who want to or get to? Those employees, those people who show up for work, that makes a huge difference. People come to work for the paycheck, but they stay for your leadership. If you or the people in your business are the problem, you will have problems. You will lack retention, lack revenues, and lack respect. I want to share this story with you about leadership. A wise teacher and a pupil were once taking a walk. Pull up that sapling, the teacher said to the pupil, and he did it. Now pull that one up, pointing to a more established sapling that was knee-high, and with little effort, the pupil did it. Now this one, nodding towards a more developed evergreen that was as tall as the pupil. And with great effort, throwing all of his weight into it, using sticks and strokes, he finally got the tree loose. Now pull up that mighty oak. And the pupil said, I'm sorry, I can't. The teacher said, you've just demonstrated the power that habits will have over your life. The older they are and the bigger they get, the deeper the roots grow, the harder they are to uproot. Some get so big with roots so deep, you might even hesitate to try. When I heard this story, I was like, oh my goodness, bad habits will kill a business. Habits are everything and they run deep. And the longer that you are in business, the worse that these will get if they are not set up appropriately. Culture is what you tolerate. Are you fostering an environment of limiting beliefs? Are you empowering your team and leading by example? I'll say that again. Culture is what you tolerate. At the end of the day, no matter what industry you're in, we're all in the business of people. And sometimes it's easy to forget that. We as young bosses and business owners can become so results-driven and goal-oriented that we forget to be people-focused and relationally obsessed. People will be more inclined to work hard and to stay working for you if you treat them with respect. They're the foundation of your business. You can't be the CEO, the accountant, and the salesperson, at least not effectively or forever. So remember that. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, people. Your business will fail without good people, and if you aren't a good person, your business will fail too. Even with your SOPs in place, if you don't have people who can execute the SOPs, you're going to be shit out of luck. It's that simple. But as business owners, it's imperative that we position ourselves in a way that enables success for all involved in the business. Take the time to create the systems and processes that will carry your business from goal to goal, from milestone to milestone. Remember to use the plethora of online tools available to make these mundane but critical tasks simpler and more efficient. There are a million ways to fail. You will fail, so get over it. But there are also a million ways to succeed. The best entrepreneurs found a way to always fail up, to always learn from their mistakes, to integrate feedback about products, about people, culture, processes, you name it. It all starts and ends with you. Thanks for listening to another episode of Young Boss with me, Isabelle Guarino. Be sure to like, share, and follow on Instagram and TikTok, and subscribe on YouTube and Spotify for weekly episodes. And let me know, what was your latest big failure? Remember, youth is your power.